Hello, people. Hi, Mr. Campbell here, speaking to you from his little Travel Lodge hotel here in England somewhere. And just a quick couple of things about what's going on in Wales, in politics in Wales particularly. And yes, the Welsh Labour government have been in charge now with their 30 seats, and they're already flexing their muscles. Straight away, of course, a couple of days ago, we had the announcement that Wales is going to trial a fantastic new concept called universal basic income. Universal basic income sounds very nice. And it's basically free money for everybody. Everyone gets money for nothing. You don't have to do anything. The government's going to give you money for free. Sounds familiar, doesn't it, actually, with the Labour government, with socialism. So the idea is basic money for everybody, no matter if you're poor or rich, if you don't work, if you're ill, or if you're a millionaire, you get this money. Ooh, sounds nice. Then, of course, they've also now, the last couple of days, discussed once more, brought up the situation of more MSs, more people at the Senedd, more representation of elected parliamentarians in our lovely, they don't call it the Assembly now, it's the Welsh Parliament, and they want more. So the 60 that they've got, which covers 40 constituencies and 20 extra just for fun, they want to make that now possibly 90, 70, 80, 90, so an extra 30, something of that nature, 20 or 30 more, because they want to talk more windbags talking rubbish down at Cardiff Bay. So those two things on the agenda, so you can see what's happening now. The socialist government in Wales, propped up with their friends from Plaid Cymru, they're not going to object to this. They love it. More power, more money to Wales, possibly sensing in maybe a little bit more of a route to devolution. Jeanette Dodds, the Liberal Democratic, little Liberal Dem spokesman there, the one Liberal Democrat will lap it up. She'll love it all. Of course, there's no opposition now. Conservatives, well, they'll love it as well. They more power, more of their friends in. So since we've got no UKIP, no reform, no abolish, no nothing, these things are going through. So just to talk to you a little bit about universal basic income, if you're not sure. So the idea is that everybody gets a basic income, and it's been trialled. It's not a new idea. It was thought of back in the Roman times, even started, and the idea there was to give everybody 3 or 4 loaves of bread, or a couple of basic foodstuffs, so that everyone survives and everyone's got a very basic standard of living. At least they can live. And in 1795, a bunch of magistrates somewhere in England decided to take it one stage further and perhaps give people a few quid, more bread, 3 loaves of bread, in fact, was mentioned. So the idea of giving everybody a basic standard of living, we already got that. It's called the welfare state, where nobody really goes without 3 loaves of bread in this country. Nobody goes without food. There is a safety net for people who don't work, who are unable to work. Now, this new system, the universal basic income, what they're talking about, they've never mentioned an exact figure, but they're talking of, some have mentioned 500, some have mentioned £1,500 a month to give to everybody. The idea is that everyone has a certain standard of living, and if you're poor, this is wonderful. Your benefits these days are probably about £200 or £300 a month, maybe if you're ill, £500 a month. So they are upping this, giving more money to the poor disadvantaged. We all want our poor people to be wealthy. We all want that. But what we do want is to work hard to be healthier. And the system of universal basic income is a freebie to everybody, but it's also to people who are rich. Now, strange concept is for a socialist concept, but it's also to give money to people who are millionaires, billionaires, people who've got big money. They also get this money. But what the catch is, of course, is that this money, it's not free money. It's got to be paid for. It's got to come from somewhere. And where do you think it's going to come from? Well, I it will come from taxation. And if you don't earn money, it'll only come from the people who do earn money. Heavier taxation, obviously heavier taxation for people who earn lots of money. So what it is really is a basic socialist principle of spreading wealth, of taking money off rich people and giving to poor people. Now, it's the Robin Hood syndrome, which thousands and thousands of socialist politicians over the years have fought for, and it's always been fought back because there's a little problem. Because, as Margaret Thatcher said, the trouble is with socialism is you sometimes you run out of other people's money. And so this system will mean that if you're rich, great, you get £1,500 a month or £800 a month. Say, if you're in £200,000, you're not going to turn it down, but that extra couple of grand, 12,000 a year or whatever, it would be nice. But the problem is, you're going to get taxed £15,000. Now, where the level will be, I would imagine, if you're on £30,000, it probably break even. So that money there, your tax that you pay, probably VAT on goods. So it's not free money. All it is a socialist. I won't say a Marxist principle, because Karl Marx actually was against that type of distribution. He had a different idea of distribution. But it is very much a socialist principle, and Labour government in Wales are lapping it up. And guess who else is all for it? Oh yes, of course, the Ginger's Dwarf from the north. She's trialling it as well in Scotland. It's been trialled in several places up there. It has been trialled in several places before. Everyone talks about Alaska, how wonderful is Alaska. Apparently everyone in Alaska gets $600 or $700 for nothing, and they love it. It's fantastic. But A, they're all on big money anyway, and B, the oil industry up there is massive, and the country can pay it. The Alaskan government is absolutely minted. It's a drop in the ocean. They give it's a sparsely populated country, so it's not a problem to give everybody a nice little monthly income for doing nothing. It's been trialled also in Finland, and guess what happened in Finland? People stopped working because I'm afraid to say that if somebody gives me money for doing nothing, I'm not going to go out. I work hard every day. I go driving all over the country. If I can get money for doing nothing, I'm going to do nothing. And that's the principle of it. Of course, the socialists, their dream is that the universal basic income is going to suddenly turn us all into entrepreneurs. This money we get will turn that 18-year-old lad in the Dewsbury Council Estate in Yorkshire, it'll make him into an entrepreneur. And those people in Merthyr and those people in the inner London will get this money, and what they'll do, they'll spend it on good, healthy living. They'll spend it. So this is the principle. So the social costs outweigh the outlay, and they're actually saying that people will spend this money so wisely. Of course, they don't ever consider they might send it on Stella Artois and Golden Virginia tobacco. No, that's not the remit of the socialist left-wing agenda. So, basic income, universal basic income is being trialled. Drakeford loves it. The Lib Dems love it. Plaid Cymru love it. And it could come in Wales. God knows how we pay for it. It'll be billions of pounds a year, or is a possibility. It's a social experiment. It could fall flat on its arse, which I think it will. And then, of course, this wonderful concept of having another 20 or 30 politicians in the Senedd again. What are they going to talk about? Talk more bloody rubbish. I'm not going to get into politics on this particular system, but you know that quite a few of the sensible parties like UKIP and Reform UK and Abolish the Welsh Assembly are horrified at the concept of this, because we want to get rid of the whole bloody thing anyway. The Welsh Senedd is not good. Devolution has not been good for Wales. So this is where we are. This is what's happening in Wales, is that the socialists, the left-wing Habal down there in Cardiff Bay, all those chums, the champagne swilling toffs, are all planning this redistribution of wealth. And what will happen? It'll drive, not just drive wealthy people out of the country, it'll drive sensible people out of the country. And of course, what this does is stifle enthusiasm for work. It stifles investment. It'll put a dampener on all sorts of money coming into Wales. And above all, what incentive is there to work? Do you really think people are going to work, dig holes in roads, work down the sewers? Do you think people will clean toilets if they get money for nothing? I think you have to agree that if you give people money for doing nothing, don't be surprised if they do nothing.